Yo, what is up, guys? What is poppin'? The ITL is over, NPL season 4 was over, the IDM is soon gonna be over, and we have to find some new leagues, some other leagues, but this one is actually gonna be my draft recap for season 5 of the NPL, which is around the corner. We already drafted, but the season won't start until December or January, I think January. But because I'm having 2 or 3 pre-season battles just to get a grid on a team and shit like that and try out some fun stuff. I figured I hit you with an early draft recap, even though it's still over a month until the official season starts. But definitely should be a fun season. I drafted pretty high squad, even though it was arguably the worst draft of my life. So we did a draft lottery. The last 2 or 3 seasons we went by previous season's record, where the champion just got the last pick, and the worst team of the prior season got the first overall pick. But this season we basically made a lottery like the NBA does it, where the best team gets a super slim chance to get the top pick, and the worst team gets a 20% chance to secure the top pick, and so on. So we randomized every pick, and yeah, the last champion I think had an 0.5 chance of getting the first pick, and then 0.55 chance or whatever, 1 out of 15 is. But yeah, the champion actually got the second overall pick, and I had the 9th best odds to get a pick, get the high pick, but everybody basically jumped over me, and I ended up with the 15th out of 16 picks. So terrible start to the draft already in the lottery. But I figured close to the wheel might be hype. I figured I may get the mon that I really want, which was Celesteela, but that thing got sniped at number 9 or 8. And I think if it hadn't been picked there, it definitely would have fallen to me. But it was one of 5 or 6 or 7 snipes in the entire draft. I usually don't get sniped at all because I come up with a pretty, I would say, rational draft plan once I get my first 2 or 3 picks. So I see what other people could draft, what they what fits on the team, and I kind of can assess in which round it is reasonable to take the mons that I want. But this draft, it was something else. It was really, really bad for me. But anyway, I drafted a fun squad with some mons I really wanted, and a team that I think will suit me well. As I said, got a 15th pick overall, and it's not the best if you try to finally win a title, because you won't end up with the broken mons like Lando, I, Magina, Naganado, all of which are allowed. So sadly I couldn't secure one of those guys, not in Lander's tier. So, but I ended up with Mega Galate at number 1. It's a mon that I really want to try out for a while now. It's obviously not a mon that usually fits my style perfectly, because as you know, I like bulky stuff, mons that can fill a very solid defensive role in the squad. I love my bulky offense, my balance, my semi-stall, which is definitely the way to go in the draft format. I think guys like myself and Gypsy King have shown that bulky offense, balance, and semi-stall are the ways to go, even though obviously hyper offense and more offensive stuff has a shot at winning too. When you look at Matty Brawley, he always runs hyper offense, and he has had some solid success with it. But I think it's overall it's a safer way of winning by when you use a bulkier squad that has multiple defensive checks to opposing threats. So Mega Light doesn't obviously doesn't fit this role, but it's a mon that is absolutely insane. If you have enough bulk behind it, it can definitely shine, because you can bring it in safely. We are wish passing, we are aggressive doubles and shit like that. This mon is a fantastic offensive threat, and has a terrific move flow. If you look at its stats, 165 attack is one of the highest in the game. With the Jolly Nature, it hits 217, which is absolutely wild. Not a lot of mons can switch into it, because it has such a terrific move flow. It gets obviously nice dual stab, gets Leaf Blade, Knockoff, X Scissor, Ice Punch, Fire Punch, I think. It gets a nice support move through with Encore, Wish, Protect, Will-O-Wisp, It basically does everything that Mega God of War does, but obviously with the physical aspect to it, with like the sword stance instead of Carmine set and shit like that. And it makes it really tough to deal because it has a great speed set. It doesn't like, it's not like on the Mega Medicham level of crazy hard to switch in, because it has like a little less attack obviously than Mega Medicham, which obviously has pure power. But it like is a mon that is so hard to revenge because of its great speed. You have to dedicate a Scarfer to it basically if you don't want to lose. It abuses passive wall cost because it actually can set up substitutes with a great special defense that is CA 115. It's very solid. Also has some solid defense, so if you're on a sub bulk up set, it really takes advantage of more passive stuff on opposing squads. But also like just a sword stance free attacks that is absolutely insane to switch in, like +2 close combat from a Jolly or Adamant delayed to Oko some fairies even despite the resist. So this mod is absolutely crazy. I'm really hyped to use it. I figure I can do a lot of work with it because I know I can be super creative with mods like this that have like such a wild move pool. I think it will always put in the work. I don't know if it will come to every game, but definitely has the potential to do that. And yeah, I'm really hyped to use it. It's like in Gen 6 it was really slept on, I felt like, but in Gen 7 it has risen to at least top 5 megas in the formula, if not top 3. I'm not quite willing to put it guaranteed over stuff like Mega Venusaur, Mega God of War, Mega Lopunny, Mega Zada X, but it's up there definitely. So yeah, definitely a nice mon to like to get in the first round. It definitely would have been my pick in round 2 because I knew the guy after me wasn't picking Mega Galate. So I had against Stila, I would have gone Mega Galate in round 2. But this thing will do. There wasn't anything else that I really wanted in the spot where I was at, and I figured Mega Galate gives me a nice mon to use and abuse in the format, and makes like prep for my opponent really hard. And next up in the second round, I figured like I had a nice solid plan for the first 3 picks after Celestina was sniped, and yeah, this like worked out fairly well. Next up I wanted some bulk, a very reliable rocker, mon that obviously can check some of the stuff that Mega Galate has trouble with, and I decided to grab Clefable here. It's a mon I haven't used since ITL Season 3, I think, where I wrote its dick to the title, but yeah, this mon, Blunder said it in a video of him the other day, whenever you see a Clefable in team preview, you're in for a long night. You're never like, yeah, I see a Clefable, I can abuse that thing, because this thing just wins games and is annoying as fuck. Like the stats overall are like pretty average, like they don't look threatening at all, but with great type and great abilities in Magic Guard and Unaware, it can do so much work. Like the Clefable, the Carmine's Thunderwave Clef set is like one of the all-time greats. Like just abused everyone in Gen 6, still puts in work in Gen 7. It's like a mon that really serves as the offensive and defensive backbone, because like not a lot of stuff can 2KO it. Can like literally chew up any 2 hits that are non-super effective, like for example stuff like T-bolts from Specs Raikou or shit like that. Like just sits there and chews those. Very solid check to a bunch of threats, and a mon that's super fun to use because it also has like such a sick move for both in the support like in a support role and in an offensive role. Obviously it gets Stealth Rock, Wish, Protect, Softball, Thunder Wave, Encore. Gets terrific move with Bolt Beam, Moonblast, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, whatever. Kind of run a Belly Drum set if you want, but obviously, like, it's a Cleric, it's a Carmine Sweeper, it's like a super reliable rocker. If you run a berry that you want to use, it never gets O-code. Absolutely never. If you see what your opponent has on the squad, you can react accordingly and make it so that it never gets O-code. Even like a Focus Sash, Magic Guard set is a nice insurance versus super threatening sweepers like, for example, Rock Polished, Swords and Slanderous T or something with the Liniums. You can just come in with the Magic Guard Focus Sash and open it. So Clefable is like, it looks like a mon that can come to every game because it always puts in work. Like even when the worst players use it, it's such a sick mon, and it definitely is like one of the premier fairies in the business. Obviously, like it's not on Magierna's on Layla's level, but it's definitely up there, and a mon that you can never sleep on in prep because then you just lose to it. Next up, I drafted another mon that I wanted to be the Z captain for a while until I made my 11th pick, and it's a mon that for some reason is in tier 2 in the NPL, even though speed passing and like baton pass clause is basically not in effect, so I can potentially pass sword stances with the speed boost with this mon into, for example, Mega Galate, and this mon is obviously the god Scolipede here. Speed boost SV is like obviously if I can pass that safely into Mega Galate, it's basically over because Mega Galate is bulky enough to set up one more time with the swords and then sweep everything with Drain Punch basically. So very threatening. A mon that obviously just as my first two forces a lot of crap from my opponent, and it's like can be really cancerous if you play it correctly. Its offensive presence is really sick as well because it has actually a very solid move pool and Earthquake, Aqua Tail to go along with its dual stab. Also obviously has Rock Slide with like stuff like Crobats or shit like that, which is actually in my division. But it's like just the one that's such a reliable revenger to some setup stuff because you can just protect, get the speed boost, and then revenge it with strong Mega Horn or shit like that. It also sets up spikes and T-spikes, which I really wanted on my team. I've really grown to love T-spikes in the format, and with mons like Clefable that can calm mind, or like just softball stall shit, with the potential sub bulk up delayed, T-spikes will come in super handy. Definitely like the hazard stacking approach doesn't seem to be that good in the Ultra Sun and Moon meta game because there are so many defoggers, but Scolipede forces a lot of defoggers out or a lot of spinners out, so it's like can't guarantee to get up a spike if played correctly. With a Z Crystal, obviously we got one Z Crystal captain basically from tier 1 to 3 and one from tier 4 to 5. And like the last one I picked was tier 1 that I made my Z captain for a very specific reason. But Scolipede with Z moves would have been busted as fuck. But even without them, like +2 Mega Horn for example, fucks basically everything up that isn't a resist. Like it does like over 75 I think to Mega Scissor, which is absolutely wild. So obviously with a life officer. Just a rough guess, but I think it hits pretty hard as far as I know. Definitely is a 2 KO. And yeah, obviously like it's a nice support mon. I won't run the speed pass set every week because I don't think I will need it as much because my team has actually some pretty interesting speed tiers that don't really rely on the speed pass from Scolipede, but it's definitely nice to have, obviously, and like Swords and Pass can be super funny as well because like people have to bring in certain Revengers in on the plus to Scolipede, and then like if they can't shoot a hit, I can just baton pass out into something that basically abuses those answers to Scolipede as setup for the base. So that can be pretty fun to use, but obviously spike stacking is, or just SD3 attacks is just as good as speed pass Scolipede. So I'm got a nice 3 mons here, which I'm really happy to have. But then like I wasn't sure what to get because a lot of mons got sniped. I don't remember which mons. I think I had stuff like Crocodile or Mamoswine on. Yes, I think Suicune, which was the next mon that I want to pick because it loves T-Spike support obviously, was the next one I wanted to pick, but that was picked and then said yeah, let's get Crocodile because speed pass plus source and into power trip Crocodile can be fun, and it's a pursuit trapper which Blade obviously enjoys. But that got picked after Suicune, and then I was like, I could get my boy Mamoswine because like a ground type, another rocker, appreciates speed pass as well as like spikes and T-Spike support. That got picked too in the round, and I figured, yeah, let's build just like a good football team. Let's build from the lines out. So I figured I built my defensive line basically first, and I figured I got Ferrothorn. I usually am not the biggest fan of Ferrothorn, even though it like pairs super well with Clefable obviously. But I also have a team that is like basically a hard rain team in my division, and Ferrothorn definitely checks stuff like Kingdra, Ludicolo, Kabutops that are on this team. So it was a mon that I really wanted to use because it, as I said, it fills a certain defensive need on my squad, but it also like gives me a backup rocker, backup spiker, just an annoying mon that can sit in front of stuff, and mon checks rain fairly well. This mon, as to the bulk, is terrific. Attack stat is solid but not great, but definitely like with gyro ball it hits kind of hard. Power whip obviously too. Doesn't have the best move pool in the world. Basically, you're always running like leech seed, 2 attacks, spikes or anything. But it's a mon that like I could potentially use in a more offensive role if like the matchup likes it. But it like has some nice support moves in Thunder Wave, Toxic, obviously, Stealth Rock, Spike, as I said. Knockoff, which is huge for defensive mon, it can just cripple opposing mons. It can like 2KO with a life orb, but can't 2KO without it. For example, can get rid of Choice Scarfers obviously with a knockoff, which can be nice for Gallade. Yeah, it's a mon that like will fill a nice, will make for a nice core with Clefable and another mon I draft or another 2 mons. But Parathon also checks Tapu Lele as well as Excadrill plus Megatita, which are in my division. I got all these threats, it feels like. It's kinda annoying, but you can definitely play around it. So it like helps me check a bunch of threats. But I figured, because I have Lele in my division, Lele is always a threat, I figured I'd get another mon that can deal with it, even though Parathon as well as Scolipede can deal with it fairly well. I wanted a guaranteed switch in potentially to it. This is my boy Alolan Muck here. A mon that put in quite some work versus me in the ITL finals, and a mon that I've been dying to use for a while. And a mon that I think fits my team, even though I double up on poison types, and I don't have like a ground resist yet, but I figure I can make it work. Ground resist aren't that much needed with the team that I ended up drafting, even though like obviously Excadrill is in my division, but I can easily play around it. This mon is absolutely sick, and it has 2 cool abilities in Poison Touch and Gluttony. Poison Touch obviously can come in super handy with Poison Jet, because that gives it a 60% chance to poison the target. So even if a defensive mod comes in, it's guaranteed to get whittled down basically. Like it's as likely as getting a flinch with Jirachi's Iron Head, for example. But this mon is a great, obviously, Assault Vest user, which I think it's most common set, but it also can run one of the pinch berries like the Yapapa or Fiji. Obviously, it can run the Black Sludge, can curse up in the right matchup, which can be really difficult to deal with if you like run Rest, Mean Look, Curse, and Poison Jet, for example, if your opponent doesn't have a Steel type, or like just Knockoff as the stab move of choice if your opponent doesn't have like a Dark Resist. Can definitely abuse those kind of mon. It's a mon that can can switch into strong special attackers, which I don't have the best answer to yet. It's a mon that with Clear Smog can potentially get rid of stat boost and like just be a solid revenger. It's a nice pursuit trapper, can hit like dragons that want to set up with an Ice Punch obviously. Decent support move too with like Taunt and Toxic obviously that never misses, which is nice because I ain't about the ain't about getting hexed again. Memento is cool, it can definitely come in handy in the right matchup if I want to guarantee a setup or anything. But overall, like it most of the time like that kicks knockoff, kicks pursuit, maybe sets up a curse in there, gets a poison jet, poison, and like just traps stuff that like fat ghosts or fat psychics that Mega Gallade kinda struggles with. So definitely a nice combination here, like a mon that can really pave the way for Gallade sweep, in my opinion. Nice stats too, like decent speed. You can outrun some slower mons. They can like take any hit basically. The higher HP stat, great speed death. Assault Vest obviously it's almost impossible to kill by special attackers. I don't think like stuff like Volcarona can even 2 KO at plus 1 if I run like max speed death, max HP Assault Vest, and I can just hit it with a Rock Slap, for example. Volcarona, another mon that's in my division. Another core of mons is in my conference. It might be a potential playoff opponent is like Sabi's squad. He has like Gothitelle and Mega Bayonet, and Mug just shuts them down. It basically is immune to anything that Mega Bayonet wants to do, which is pretty hype, so I can use that to my advantage. Next up, even though like I got 2 Wish Passes already in Gallade and Clefable, they are not ideal because Clefable likes to run Softball to open up room for another coverage move, for example, a Stealth Rock or a support move, and Gallade obviously is not a good Wish Passer at all. I figured I wanted fat Water type and I wanted a Wish Passer, and I figured I'd go with my girl Alomomola here. I had the choice basically between Alomomola and the Thoran, while Vaporeon is a mon that is guaranteed better than Alomomola in the long run. Alomomola gives me a nice physical sponge, while Vaporeon is more of like a special defensive mon that I don't really like too much. Never been a fan of the EV line, so I think I'd go with my girl Alomomola, and I figured I can get a better mon in tier 3 to pair with Alomomola than a better mon in tier 4 that I can pair with Vaporeon. So Alomomola, my girl of choice. It seemed kind of early for it in round 6, but it actually would have gotten picked in this round, as some people told me, so I'm happy I got it. Sick HP status, if you see, like, it can pass up to 136 HP wishes, which basically heals up Mega Galate from full, from up to full from like 12% or so, or 10%, 10 HP basically. If I get a wish pass off into it, so that's pretty wild. It's basically never 2-hit KO'd by any physical attack. That's not super effective stat. It's a nice check to Sand and Rain as well, because it beats Mega Swampert easily. It doesn't beat Mega Tita and Drill, but can Scald Burn them, get Rocky Helmet shit, for example. Maybe set up even a Rain Dance to stop that from happening. And yeah, it can like just do some solid stuff overall, so I figured Alomomola is the way to go. Obviously it's super passive, but with a potential Unaware Clefable and overall solid defensive core already with these 4 here, I'm pretty sure I won't get fucked over by monsters set up in Alomomola's face, because I can always Toxic on the switch in, then click Wish. Obviously I can knock off some items, I can run coverage to prevent like mons like Zygarde from setting up a substitute, for example. So it's like not too big of a deal, I felt like. Obviously Regenerator is a nice ability too, which means I can wish past more freely because I always get my health back anyway. And yeah, that's kind of cool. I like Alomomola a lot. It's been one of the defensive backbones of my ITL squad. I've used it a couple of times already, and like I feel really comfortable using it despite its passiveness. Next up, I drafted another poison type actually, and a mon that I first didn't have on my radar. I kind of wanted Talonflame as my fire type from tier 4, but my boy Matty Brawlix said like this mon fits very well on your team because it gives you an even better speed here. Gives you a guaranteed way of crippling opposing walls with Toxic. It gives you a nice special wall breaker, and I agree. And so I drafted Salazzle. Obviously my ground weakness kinda is a little fucked up right now, but with the fat bulk on Alomomola, on Ferrothorn, and on Clef, I don't think it will be too big of a problem. So Salazzle here is the mon of choice. It's super frail, as you see, terrible defense, but it's 6 speed stat, 117, with great special attack, and insanely good offensive typing with poison and fire. Obviously the corrosion ability allows it to toxic every mon regardless of the typing, which is great. It also hits every toxic. It's nice support and disable and encore with sub. Like sub encore can be really annoying, especially like if you run taunt or toxic as well on there, so that mons can't really do anything about you setting up a substitute if you play it correctly. So that's kind of cool. And obviously like just Sludge Wave plus Fire Blast with Nasty Plot potentially is like just fucked up to switch into. I faced it twice in season 3, I think, and it was super annoying to deal with. Like I had to run a max HP max Bedef Amoonguss with HP ground to safely revenge kill this Salazzle and not allowed to put in any work with me. So yeah, this mon can be in the right matchup. It can put in quite some work here. It can be a terrific late game cleaner or mid game breaker with the Nasty Plot set, obviously. Can run a spec set, for example, to like just sweep late game once you identify your opponent's Scarfer, and then go from there. And obviously a mon that with Nasty Plot can abuse the speed pass from Scolipede, which you can never underestimate. So like the +1 it outspeeds basically every Scarfer, because the crazy speed, and then like you can just get the +2 in the special attack, hit over 300 and go from there. So if you play correctly, this mon can put in a lot of work. Yeah, so this were the first 7 rounds, I think, and then I wanted like another tier 4 mon because I figured my tier 5s would fall to the next round. I don't think anyone had them on their list, so I was fairly safe. And at this point, I was the only guy I think who could get another tier 1 mon. and so I could wait for that until round 11. So the next one I got is Alolan Persian, which is my one of my Z move users with the Dakinium Z. Z parting shot can be super fun, obviously. It's a great support mon, obviously great speed, and super annoying to wear down, especially if you run like a max HP set with a lot of defense and like just as much speed as you need. Can like shoot hits up from excuse me, from stuff like Weavile easily with the typing and the fur coat ability, even though like the stats don't look great. Its physical bulk is actually super underrated. I remember my boy Adam using it as like a switch in or counter to my Charizard X in season 3 or 4, season 3 I think, and like it put in quite some work because it took nothing from +1 Dragon Claw. Obviously it's a foul play, so despite it being fairly weak on the physical side, it has a step move that can do over 50 to strong physical attackers without any investment. As knockoff, obviously, can be a nasty plot sweeper, but this is kind of rough to do because 75 special attack isn't that good at all. It has parting shot, obviously, which is super nice to set up a sweep potential by Scolipede or by Mega Gallade, even by like Salazzle here, so this is kind of cool. Obviously, you get Switcheroo and Taunt to like cripple stuff, to prevent stuff from setting up rocks or setting up in general. It gets U-turn too, but you would never click U-turn over parting shot unless your opponent has like a Serp or a Bishop. So I figure that makes it. Gets Raw to play stuff out, like stuff like physical setup sweepers or so. Get some decent moves in like Thunderbolt, Power Jam, Play Rough, Knockoff. Not the best, but definitely can put in quite some work in the right matchup. Like just by its presence, by its use of parting shot, Icy Wind, Hypnosis, like nice, nice support with Rain Dance obviously too. It also gets Sunny Day, which could come in handy versus the Rain team that I'm gonna face, but obviously it's not like the first move of choice that you have on there. That's a mon that will fit in fairly well. It allows me with the Dakinium Z to like play, for example, my Mega Delay fairly recklessly in the early game, like just set up, get a kill or two, get one down by some attacks, and then like just Z parting shot it back up to full and go from there. So Persian and Lola, another good partner for most of my mons. I figured I don't have like that great answers to fighting types yet, because my resistances in Salazzle and Gallade are a bit good versus those, but obviously Clefable can deal with most fighting types. Ferrothorn can take a hit. Momola can sit in front of them if they aren't like boosting up to crazy heights and don't have guts, for example, so they can't so don't care about what's called Scalp Burn. So I'm like not too worried about fighting type attacks at all in the moment. So this is why I figured I can just draft another mon that's weak to fighting and another rocker, because right now I only have Clefable and Ferrothorn as rockers, and I figured the third one would be great. And because Mamoswine got sniped the mon that I think I'm the best to use in the business. I'm great with Mamoswine. I'm the Ice type gym leader, as you know, so I figured I'd get Piloswine here. And this mon is like just a fatter but slightly weaker version of Mamoswine. Great HP stack, great defensive, great speed def with the Violite, obviously. Hits super hard, base 100 is nothing to laugh at. Insane dual step that is super hard to switch in. Can run any Violite set, obviously most of the time, but can also be like Choice Bandit or Life Orb to get like the extra damage, which makes it really hard to switch in. The speed isn't great, obviously not as good as Mamoswine's, but it can still outspeed some more passive stuff, and obviously with Scolipede I can make it work, I felt like. So I could pass potentially +2 speed, +2 attack into Piloswine and just go ham with it with this mon. Obviously it's a very serviceable rocker. It checks electric types fairly well. Now I have like answers to electrics in those three here, but this is a mon that prevents mons from using Volt Switch all the time, because this would mean free rocks most of the time, or like just getting a big hit off. There's not a lot of types that can switch into ice and ground, so this should be fun to use for sure. As you know, I love my Mamoswine, and this Piloswine will be used in a very similar way as as my boy Mamo, so I'm very hyped to use it. I'm very happy that I got it. in the 9th round. I think it's a very underrated mon in tier 5. As you might have noticed, I don't have hazard removal yet, which is absolutely crucial. My team isn't weak to rocks at all, besides Salazzle and Scolipede. I don't have a rock weakness on my team, but I definitely want removal on my squad. At first I figured Lurantis could be cool as a tier 5 defog. I think it's an underrated mon, but I didn't want to pair it with Ferrothorn. I wanted a mon that's also a spin blocker if I need it, because of my spike stacking approach that I could take with those two here. So I figured I could draft regular Rotom. It gives me also speed that I don't have yet. I'll have like speed either 110 or plus, or less than 65, which isn't ideal, but this mon here basically gives me a speed that I don't have, that forces like some mons like base 100 to run Jolly to outspeed me, so this is kind of nice. But also a mon that can fill a solid defensive role by its great typing. Electric Ghost is really cool, only 2 weaknesses, couple of nice resistances to like poison, steel for example, and bug. So it's a very solid defog. I feel like can run a scarf set to basically guarantee a defog if I need it. I also can like run a bulky set with toxic, substitute, Will-O-Wisp, whatever. Nice volt switch use ups, gets hex, gets foul play if I need, gets screens, which can come in handy to set up sweeps. T-Wave obviously super nice to have, and besides that, not the greatest move because Rotom, like the Rotom forms are as solid as they are. They can just run dual stab with like defog and pain split or defog and status move, and like this is fairly solid. It hits kind of hard, 95 special attacks, nothing to laugh at, and a mon that can put in solid work in the right matchup, and a mon that can defog versus a bunch of stuff, like can always come in on a bulky water, scare it out, and get a defog off. So I'm not too worried about hazards anymore with this mon. And the last mon that I decided to make my Z captain, because it absolutely abuses speed pass from Scolipede, but can obviously use its own attacks, own stat boosting moves to like be a threat. This is Latias. Carmine Latias with speed boost is something that T-Train used fairly well in the ITL this season, and it's something that I want to try out. I'm not gonna run Carmine with speed pass from Scolipede every week, but if I do, this thing gets super scary super early, like +2 speed with 1 Carmine up, and stored power can fuck shit up, especially like with the Dragonian Z or Cyclone Z. Stored power, in case you don't know, gets 160 base power regardless of your stat boost as a Z attack. So this is fairly solid. I can like just Z move something that thinks it can prevent me from setting up. For example, like Toxapex, I can just haste me, I can just knock it out with the Z stored power because before I set up, so this is cool. It also gives me another defogger, which is fairly reliable. We are allowed to run Soul Dune, so this is good for its dual stat. It's a very fat one, especially on the special defensive side. Can basically check every special water, grass, or fire type in the business. Deals with electrics fairly well. Can also like be around physically bulky to check fighting types, for example. With the Z Crystal, it's not weak to knockoff anymore, which is solid. Excuse me. It has Healing Wish to like give a second life to mons like Gallade or Scolipede or whatever Wincon I identify in the right matchup. It's a solid Scarf, even though it doesn't hit too hard. Could have gone Latios instead, but I figured Stored Power, Fat Ladi, makes for a better partner with Scolipede, and with what I have, it also gives me a more reliable defogger. A mon that isn't as easy to pursue threat as the regular Latios because it gets a Reflect type if I want to use that. So overall, like a very solid mon with the right support. It also gets T-Wave, Thunderbolt, Surf for like some nice coverage. Gets Trick if I want to use that. Gets Refresh, which is really cool in Carmine set. If I like face a team doesn't have a Dark type, for example, you can just run Carmine Stored Power with Refresh and Recover to make it like near impossible to kill, especially if I get like speed into it or an Iron Defense boost or something. So this is really cool. Really hyped to use this mon. Haven't used it in a while. I'm not usually the biggest fan of the Ladis, but on this team it fits fairly well in my opinion. So we'll see how I do with that. So this is the squad: Gallade, Mega Edition, Clefable, Scolipede, Ferrothorn, Alolan Muk, Aloe, this thing is Salazzle, Alolan Persian, Mabo, Paloswine, Rotom, and Gladius. Shout out to whoever gets these nicknames. Obviously a reference to the best game in the world. Yeah, like shying away from my Quentin Tarantino nicknames this time. But definitely a squad that I didn't expect to draft in the first place, but because it got sniped so often, I was kind of forced to draft some of the mons that are around here on the squad. But still a squad that I feel like is very unique. I don't think I've ever seen like a squad like this drafted before, but it's a squad that I can use to my advantage for sure. A squad that I can get very creative with. A squad that still fits my playstyle of bulky offense, because I got a very strong defensive core in Clef, Barrow, Alomomola, Muk, Persian, this thing, even this and this. So like every mod basically can be run fairly bulky on my squad, so this is nice. And yeah, I'm hyped to use it. I will definitely upload my preseason battles, I'm fairly sure, unless I get busy somehow and can't anymore. So be hyped for that, and then like in January we are gonna hop into the regular season. So let me know in the comments what you think of the squad. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, leave a like and comment if you enjoyed, and I catch you in the first week of the free season. See ya.